Proud of you.
This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Wingfield Properties, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Trinity Temple Assembly of God, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone CPA, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Group, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Ludwig's Bakery, the law offices of Gina White, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Scott Bird DDS, Sexton Law Firm, Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Chicken Express, Pediatrics Plus, and Providence Veterinary Care. The host of Inside Badger Football is Cooper Darr.
Welcome back to Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. How are you, Coach?
Doing great. Great to be here today.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, the Badgers got to play the Leopards this past week, and I just want to congratulate you. Conference championship, Coach.
So that's awesome. It's a big game. The past few years it has come down to this game to win the conference for the top seed, on top of being a rivalry and all the things that go along with it. But it was an exciting game, a hard-fought game. Had some weather involved, and it was a really good conference championship atmosphere. Wasn't a perfect game by any means, but we did enough to win and come out on top. So we're excited about it and excited for the playoffs moving forward.
Yeah, well, this is your third time in a row winning the conference championship. Just like you said, it's always been Malvern and Arkadelphia really facing it off for that conference championship, but also winning the Washita River Rumble belt. And I got to hold this thing. I'm talking, it's heavy. So
yeah, it's a real belt.
That's gotta be a huge accomplishment, especially for your players to just take it home over their shoulders. So
it's exciting to keep putting Arkadelphia on the belt. The winner of the game gets their name on the belt along with the score, and so we're starting to fill the belt up with Arkadelphia, and we're excited about that.
There you go. Yeah, it's a full metal belt, really. So made from the same company as the WWE belt.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
It's a true type of belt, trophy-style belt.
Awesome. Also, congratulations, first seed in the playoffs. Obviously, don't want to get too far ahead of us, but first seed in the playoffs means that you get home field advantage, right? And so you got Ozark coming in. We'll talk about it later, but that's going to be really good for all of that. Let's stick with the Malvern game just a little bit. Let's talk about it. Coach, there were a lot of passing yards from McCoy, especially in the first half and in the rain with weather. Talk about just your offense.
Yeah, I thought our offense made a lot of explosive plays. I believe we put up 470 yards of offense. We did not execute as well as we did in the past few weeks, but in big games, that's kind of to be expected. But I thought we withstood it. We did a really good job. Our playmakers stood up in big-time situations. Our offense did a really good job of just continuing drives and putting up explosive points.
Yeah, that's good. And it was really good to see like a full 4 quarters of football. It's been a while. So you got to practice your 2-minute, all your different scenarios of football to especially get ready for this playoff season.
Yeah.
That was a really big game for
It was big. It was big to go through a game like that, on the road against a good team in Malvern. They were undefeated. With rain, it rained pretty much the entire game. In going back into it, our defense did a phenomenal job of, just really just executing all night. They really did. I know they scored off of one explosive play. They put together a last-minute drive, a last-second touchdown. But that game, the game was out of reach at that point and didn't really matter towards anything. But we did a really good job of keeping them out of the end zone for most of the night. They scored on a kickoff return for a touchdown, which is very uncharacteristic. Our coverage on our kickoff team is pretty good. But on that one time, I mean, you gotta be consistent. I've said it all year. You gotta have the consistency. But on that one, they've got good enough players over there where if you do something wrong, they can take advantage of it, and they did in those two situations.
For sure, and that's definitely a props to your defense, because you take away 2 plays, I mean, the score looks completely different.
Right.
Outcome might be the same, but
right.
The scores would be completely different. So just that long return on kickoff return, and then just one defensive play, but one play can change a game for sure.
One play can change a game. We've seen that in the past. We've been on the wrong side of that before, and like I said, it's good that we were able to experience a game like that before the playoffs. It's good that we were able to experience that and still come out on top and still, win the game, win the rivalry with the belt, the 1 seed, the conference championship, all the things that came along with it. So just being able to withstand it all, handle the night, it was really good for our players. We got a lot better as a team, I believe, from Friday night's game.
I love it. Let's go ahead and go to the Malvern highlights. It was a really fun time just putting this together, because it was good football. It was a good full 4 quarters of football. Just talk about how this rivalry, just what it meant to these guys as they were running out onto the field, just how excited they were.
Yeah, no, they're pumped up. It takes a long time to get to this moment, and as you know, as a former player, and you've been a part of a lot of long seasons. It takes a long time to get to a point to be in a situation like this, to where you can win a conference championship, to where you can go undefeated in conference, to where you can be a number 1 seed. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and it comes down to these moments in this game, to where you start to see some of that come into fruition. It's not the overall goal of the season is this game, but it's one of the goals of the season. So we're able to check that box. Very happy for our team that we're able to do that.
What I really liked about this game is that you had a lot of players going both ways, but being dominant both ways. And especially number 2 on your team, he had 2 touchdowns at the beginning of the game, but also we just had a sack by him as well. Talk about him.
Yeah, so he's mainly a linebacker. Q Morris, he's a junior. He's been a huge force for us at the linebacker position. And then on offense, we use him at that fullback spot. And then when we get close to the end zone, he hops back there to running back, and he's a tough kid to bring down. Very smart, very physical football player. And so we use him in a couple different ways, and he's really, really good at all of them.
Kind of talking about the regular season, obviously you went undefeated in conference. How does this make you feel just going into the playoffs? Obviously, don't want to get too big of a head, but obviously it's got to feel good with the number 1 seed coming into the playoffs.
It is. It's huge. Anytime you get the 1 seed going in the playoffs, you start off with home field advantage. And, the deeper you get, you might be on the road once or twice, which that's just kind of how the brackets get set up. But you definitely start the playoffs at home, against typically a lower seed. And, not that is an easier game. I don't think any game in the playoffs is easy. But, typically it's not your biggest game of the playoffs. So we're excited about where we're at. We're excited about the bracket. We're excited about getting to play at Badger Stadium this next week.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good home, fun game, and it gets a little bit darker earlier now. So
it does.
The atmosphere is going to be there for sure in the playoffs.
Hopefully be able to flash the lights a little bit.
Yes, sir. It's always a fun time with those. So. Coach, let's talk about your offense a little bit heading into now the playoffs. From the Malvern game, what kind of have y'all learned watching the film? What do y'all need to kind of get ready for in this next week of football?
Yeah, just continue to dominate the line of scrimmage. I thought Kyle, we've seen a couple of his plays. Kyle had one of his best games of the season. He ran strong. He had explosive runs. Jay Purefoy, senior wide receiver, was able to pick up a lot of yards and explosive plays through the air. And then we were able to hand him the ball, and he was creating explosives there as well. We just got to continue to get him the ball. I thought our sophomore quarterback, Bryce McCoy, did a great job of just distributing the ball and getting it out in space to our guys. And, he kind of let the moment get to him a couple times, and he was able to learn and have some learning plays as well. But I thought he grew from the whole experience of the game. I thought he handled it really, really well.
Yes, sir. Coach, also your offense, almost all of your receivers just had an outstanding game.
Yeah.
Really all of them. I mean, Finley, Purifoy, all the guys. Coach, talk about your receivers.
Yeah, the receivers did a really good job of just attacking the space. I know we just saw that Q Morris scoring a touchdown. We were just talking about him a little bit earlier, getting close to the end zone, and we were able to move him back to running back. But back to the receivers. Our receivers are very talented players. They've grown and developed over the course of the season. They're playing their best football right now. And Jay Purifoy, you're seeing him play his best football of the season yet. So it's very exciting where we're at offensively going into the playoffs. We're very dynamic. Still through the game, we were 50-50 run pass, and in big games, that's exactly where we want to be. Our production is equal to that also.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, I want to move over to the defensive side. We just saw a big play by Skylar McClure. He had a huge game, actually. I think he had a couple sacks, maybe.
He had a couple sacks.
Maybe 4-ish tackles for loss,
Yeah.
if not more. So I kind of got to look at the production chart a little bit this week.
Yeah, our D-line, I thought, had its best game of the season also. We've had games to where they were more disruptive, but this was a bigger task than what we'd kind of seen the past few weeks, and I thought our defensive line was really dominant. Really made it hard for Malvern to move the football on the ground, as well as disrupting the quarterback in the pass game. And I thought it really started with those guys, and defensively, I thought it was glaring how good our defensive line play was.
I mean, not only how physical they were, they played sound football as well.
Did.
And they read their keys. And, I mean, we see a lot of plays. There was an outside zone to the left.
Yeah.
You want to maintain that outside position and work them back inside. And so everyone did really well.
That's the encouraging part about it. And they kept our linebackers clean. Our linebackers were free hitters a lot of the time. Our middle linebacker, Malachi Hamilton, number 4, he led us in tackles Friday night, and a lot of it's because he's playing clean and he's able to be a free hitter on the ball carrier, and he made those plays. And so Q Morris, our outside linebacker, was right there with him. Same thing with Reese Campbell, our other outside linebacker. They were free hitters in a lot of the time, and our defense line's eating up the line of scrimmage and allowing those guys to go make plays.
Which you do that, you're going to win a lot of football games.
That's right.
Especially from the defensive side, but defense wins championships.
They absolutely
and that's what
do.
we're going for, Coach.
They absolutely do.
And so we see Malvern kind of put it in the air a couple more times than we've seen the past couple weeks. They threw the ball just a little bit more. Coach, your defensive back still had an amazing game. A lot of PBUs were made as well. Talk about your defensive backs.
Yeah, I thought our defensive backs really showed the development that they've had over the course of the season. The past couple of weeks, they haven't really been tested just a whole lot, but we knew that going in, Malvern, they've got a good quarterback that can throw the ball. They've got receivers that probably are just as talented as we've seen in any opponent of the season. They've got some really good players over there at their skill positions. Their running backs are really good. They've got multiple running backs. And so we knew that it would be a really good test for us, especially on the back end, just to be able to tackle in space, to be able to cover the routes, to be able to play the ball in the air, and just all the things. But big play right there by Skylar McClure. The ball actually came out, and that's one that I wish we were able to get on. But man, just getting a sack, getting the ball on the ground, having the opportunity to get it is huge for our defense. Even though we didn't get the ball, I believe that was third down. They ended up punting it to us, so we ended up getting it. But without recovering the fumble, it still creates a lot of momentum.
Yeah, and I mean, Skylar's a beast. I mean, I say it on the broadcast a lot, and I think I said one time, Skylar is a dog, and then Dr. Root kind of had to give the dictionary meaning of what dog meant. But yeah, Skylar's killing it. Your entire defensive line, your linebackers, defensive back, the whole defensive unit is killing it as well. Man,
there's a lot of juniors up there.
Yeah, there is, and that's huge for the future.
It is. It bodes well for moving forward and just continuing the program.
Yeah, and I talked to Nikeeson after the game, just said what's up, and he's fun. He
was fired up Friday night. He was fired up. He was on go.
Whenever you can beat kind of really your buddies in football, I mean, that's always a very, very good game to have. Yeah. But I was talking to Nikeeson after the game, and I saw him before the game, and Man, he is a serious man. You
Yeah,
walk
he's
by,
all
he has
business.
his beats on, and
He's all business one game day.
I love it, and that's what you need. That's what you need, especially going into the playoffs. It's time to go.
That's
it's
right.
time to lock in, and I know your entire team will take after a lot of your senior leaders as well.
Yes.
So.
And our seniors have been in this situation before with playoffs. We've been with these seniors. We've been the conference championship with these seniors every year, and so they know the situation, and it's their time to show they know how to get the job done.
That's right. Coach, talking about your offense just a little bit more. Your offensive line, I know we talk about them a lot, but I want to talk about your running backs. Actually, Reed had a great game. And we had some other guys got to come in. Coach, talk about your running backs.
Yeah, I know we've talked about Kyle. He had his best game of his senior season. Jay Purefoy, the one that just ran the ball right there, we were able to hand him the ball a couple times, and he was able to create some explosive plays for us. And then we had sophomore Caden Whitaker come in, ran the ball well, did his job, and then we were also able to use Malachi Hamilton, starting middle linebacker. It's actually Jay Purefoy's little brother. He's a little bit bigger of a back, able to get downhill and just get us yards that we need to keep the drive going, keep the clock moving. And then we were able to get the ball right here to Orion Roberts. We've seen Orion break a lot of tackles throughout the season. It's almost like he's a running back out there at the wide receiver position. Once he gets around the edge and in space, he's tough to bring down by the DBs. He's just a strong runner. But we're able to distribute the ball around quite a bit. That's one of the things we take pride in, is being dynamic offensively. We feel like the way that we're able to put up the points that we need to be productive as an offense is to be dynamic, to be 50-50 run pass. We want to be able to stretch you vertically. We want to stretch you, horizontally. We want to be able to run the ball well. And so I thought we were able to do that Friday.
Well, Coach, after you win a game like this, you get a trophy like this, so I want to congratulate you, conference championship. That is a huge, huge honor, Coach.
Yeah, it is. It's big for the program. It's big for our seniors, big for our team, our coaches. There's a lot of work that goes into this. A lot of work by the coaches, by the players, by all of our fan base and supporters. There's a lot of things that go into these things, and it's just good that we're able to get it, and it feels great to be the conference champ, 1 seed going into the playoffs.
That's right.
All the things that go along with it. There's a lot of things that go into one of these, more than a lot of people understand. But we're just excited to be conference champs and going into the playoffs.
Yes, sir. But also, I want to talk about this thing right here. Oh, it is heavy. I mean, you can literally see it shimmering right there. And Coach, also congratulations. You won the belt again.
Yeah.
That is a heavy belt. I don't think people understand. Like, this thing is heavy. And
no, it's
talk about
a real
what this
belt.
means to Arkadelphia.
It's huge, just with the rivalry that we have with Arkadelphia Malvern. Anytime that we get together, it really doesn't matter what each other's record is going into this game. There's a lot of hype behind it. I know the communities kind of get involved with all the social media and all the kind of things, but it's a really cool deal, really cool belt. There's also a scholarship given away by Arkansas State University, Three Rivers. They give a scholarship to the player of the game, and so it's a really cool deal, really good opportunity. It's one of the long-standing rivalries in the state, one of the big ones, and so we've been able to put our name on here quite a bit. These little deals right here on the side. The winner of the game gets their name, or gets the name put on there with the year, and so we've been able to start to fill it up, and that's always a good thing. So
that's right. Well, I think we're going to try to zoom in on it. It looks like we have the 2023 in there. We'll get the 24 on there pretty soon.
Yeah.
But looks like we got Arkadelphia there the past couple years, so it's a great job for Arkadelphia. It's a pretty belt. I mean, this thing it's full metal, so it's pretty awesome. Also, conference championship. I mean, it just coming together. I mean, it's like Christmas actually. So it is a good time. I'll try to set this back up again, but as we kind of go into the next little section, I want to talk about your players of the game from this past week against Malvern. Let's go to the offensive player of the game. We have Jay Purefoy. Coach, talk about Jay.
Yeah, Jay Purefoy, just an explosive night offensively. He had 2 touchdowns, over 150 yards receiving. Also had like 60 yards on the ground rushing. And so just one of the guys that really took over the game offensively, continued to get him the ball, had to get him the ball, and he did what he had to do to win.
Coach, let's go to the defensive player of the game real quick. Talk about Malachi Hamilton.
Yeah, Malachi Hamilton, middle linebacker, was in position to make the plays, and he made them. And so he was our leading tackler on the night, was able to play clean because the D-line was playing so well. But just because you play clean doesn't mean you're going to make the play, but he did. And he really stepped up, was able to shut down their rushing attack, and was huge in the overall outcome of the game.
Coach, moving on to special teams, let's talk about Braden Wagner.
Braden Wagner had a couple nice, really good returns. Had some really nice fair catches also as a punt returner, keeping our offense in good field position, keeping our situation good. And then also had some really good tackles on our headhunters unit. I know we gave up a touchdown, but he was one that stayed consistent with our kickoff unit. Our cover down has made some really good plays. Had to make a tackle to save a touchdown on our kickoff unit.
Well, Coach, let's talk about the Badger Spirit Award winner.
Cam Archer. He's a junior wide receiver for us. Unable to play this year, but man, he's like our hype guy in practice. He brings the energy every single day, and then he gets us ready. He's on our scout teams. He's on everything that we do. Whether it's special teams, we need a special teams look. Whether it's an offensive look, whether it's a defense look, he's out there and he can play all the positions and give us a really good look. Plays fast, keeps our guys motivated. He's one of the guys that he's just full of spirit.
Yeah.
And just one of the more spirited players on our team. But we're excited to give him the Badger Spirit Award winner this week.
And you need those guys on your team
We
just to really excel as a program, keep everything alive as well.
That's right.
So
he's a lively guy.
I'm gonna keep this on my shoulder just for now. I
Looks
feel
good.
like I'm a part of the
Looks
team
good.
again.
Looks good.
So officially a Badger winning the conference championship. But Coach, let's go ahead and talk about the 4A7 results from this past week. Kind of. Still in conference, it was week 10. Arkadelphia 34, Malvern 23, Nashville 35, Genoa Central 0, Ashdown 39, Fountain Lake 30, Haskell Harmony Grove 13, Bauxite 12 right there, Coach. Moving on to the final 4A7 standings. This is how it will end and how it will look till the next year. Coach, sitting at number 1, Arkadelphia, Tier 1, as you might say.
That's right.
Tier 1, Arkadelphia, Tier 2. Malvern, 6-1, 9-1 overall so far. Number 3, Nashville, sitting at 5-2. Ashdown, 4-3. Haskell Harmony Grove, 3-4. And then you have the 6, 7, and 8 team, Bauxite, Fountain Lake, and Genoa Central right there. Where we see that number 5, there's a line underneath it. Everything above is what has made it to the playoffs, and that's kind of what I want to talk about right now. And let's look at what those 5 teams, who they will be playing this week. So we have our conference there on the left and who they will be playing on the right. Sitting at our number 5 seed in our conference, we'll be playing the first in the 4A3, and they're going to be playing Southside Batesville. And then number 4, Ashdown, will be at the second in the 4A third, and they're going to be playing Highland. Number 3, Nashville, will be playing the 3rd seed in the 4A3, and they're playing Pocahontas. So a 3 seed versus a 3 seed. Malvern will be playing the 4th seed from the 4A4, which is a different conference than the 3. Got Pottsville, and then the one we are going to be focusing on are your conference champions, the Badgers, playing the 5th seed of the 4A4, the Ozark Hillbillies. Coach, moving on to this game, they are 4-5 on the road. They top 3 seeds are at home. Kind of talk about the playoffs, and then we'll really dive deep into Ozark.
Yeah. You just mentioned all the conference teams and who they play. Typically our conference does a really good job in the playoffs, and, I wouldn't expect this year to be any different. I think that after this week, after Friday, you'll be able to look at the scores and check the conference, and I think you'll be surprised.
That's right. Coach, you've played them in the playoffs before, and what compares this season to, now it's a new season, it's a new game, Coach?
Yeah, a couple years ago we had Ozark, we hosted Ozark in the playoffs, and they had a really good team then, and You know, they're very similar in a lot of ways right now. You know, Ozark, they're going to be big, they're going to be strong, they're going to be physical. You know, one of the things that they don't have is a lot of speed, but they do have a lot of really big, strong, physical kids, and that's what we've got to match and you know, try to be better than moving into the game. You know, we know it's going to be a physical game. We've got to match and exceed that.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, obviously you win this game, gonna stay home for a while, but we don't want to look too far because it's a playoffs and anything can ever happen in your road to Little Rock. So
that's right.
You won a conference championship. Now you want to go win a state championship.
That's right. Well. And that's the thing with all the things that's built up with the conference championship, with you know, the rivalry, all the things, you know, that, you know, my message to the team was, you know, that stuff was for last week and over the weekend and enjoy it. But, you know, Monday is playoff time and all that stuff doesn't matter anymore. You know, it does matter that we're the 1 seed and we get home field advantage for some of the games. But other than that, you know, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's fighting to stay alive. Everybody's got to win to move on to next week. Every opponent is trying to end our season. And so we've got to be prepared. We've got to be ready. We've got to be the best team Friday night, and that's what it really comes down to. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Nobody's record matters anymore. You got to be the best team on a Friday night. That's
right. Well, Ozark this Friday is going to be a really fun game. It's the playoffs. It gets a little bit darker, a little bit earlier now, so it's truly prime time football there at 7 o'clock.
Time.
So playoff game, 7 o'clock at All Care Field at Badger Stadium. This Friday, come out and support your Badgers. All tickets. This is big. All tickets must be purchased online through the GoFan app. So go on your app store, Samsung App Store, download the GoFan app, and be on the lookout for the Badger Athletics Facebook page for more information as well on how to purchase the tickets. It's a little bit different now because it's AAA, it's the playoffs. Yeah. I know that's always been a thing, but just download the GoFan app. It'll be a lot easier getting into the game. But yeah, playoff game this Friday. You got anything else to say, Coach?
Yeah, no, we're excited about the playoffs, and we're just going to take it 1 week at a time. We can't look down the road too far. We got to worry about one opponent at a time and be the best team that we can be Friday night.
That's right. We'll come out, support your Badgers, and it's going to be a lot of fun Friday at 7 o'clock. If you can't make it, watch online at ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great game. The Ozark Hillbillies are coming to town, and the Badgers, it's time to play some football.
That's right.
So we'll see you next week on Inside Badger Football. Go Badgers.
Funeral Home, Wingfield Properties, Southern Bancorp, Southwest Sporting Goods, Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Trinity Temple Assembly of God, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone CPA, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Group, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Ludwig's Bakery, the law offices of Gina White, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Scott Bird DDS, Sexton Law Firm, Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Chicken Express, Pediatrics Plus, and Providence Veterinary Care. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Rogers Department of Communications at Ouachita Baptist University and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. Inside Badger Football.